Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are going to work on 10.3, which is on variability. I believe this is going to be new for everybody. It's still pretty easy. Once you go through the explanation with me, I think you'll find out that it's really pretty much the exact same thing that we did yesterday, but we're going to add a couple other important points. So let's go ahead and get started. So our learning target for variability, lesson 10.3, is I can describe the variability of a set of data using a box and whisker plot. I'm not sure if you know what a box and whisker plot is. I'll go over here. Here's an example of a box and whisker plot. I'm sure you've seen that before. Not sure if you've ever created one before, but that's what we're going to be doing today. Specifically talking about what the points on the box and whisker plot allow us to do. So the first thing that we need to talk about is quartiles. So when you think of quartiles, you should think of the word quarter, and quarter means 25%, right? So in a box and whisker plot, we're actually going to divide our set of data into 4 equal parts. Our middle part is something that we should already be familiar with because of our lesson yesterday. Our middle part is going to be the median. So our middle point in a box and whisker plot is going to be the median. So now I have 2 halves left over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split those halves into halves, and that's where we get our 25%. The first quartile represents the median of the lower half, and the third quartile represents the median of the upper half. And then the last thing that we can use to calculate, the last thing that we can do when we're talking about quartiles is find the interquartile range, and that is just the quartile 1 subtract of quartile 3. And what that allows us to do is it just allows us to find where the majority of our information is going to be located. So let's go ahead and take a look at this example here. I'm actually going to erase something so you can kind of see how this works. So I have a set of data. I've got 2, 4, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now if I was to find my median, again, I like to cross off 1 on each side until I only have 1 left. I'm going to find out that my median is going to be 5. Okay? So there's my median. Now when I'm finding my quartile 1 and my quartile 2, I'm just looking for the median of the upper and lower half of my information, not including the number I've already circled. So I'm going to ignore the 5. And now I'm going to do the same thing to my lower half. I'm going to cross off 1 from the top and 1 from the bottom, and I have the number 4 left over. So the number 4 is going to be our quartile 1. Now I can do the same thing to my upper half. I can find the median of my upper half, ignoring that 5, crossing off 1 on each side until I only have 1 left over, and I end with the number 7. So that's how I find my first quartile and my third quartile. So we can have a couple examples here. My numbers are already in order, which is super useful for us. So I've got 4 and 22 I'm going to cross off, and I'm going to keep crossing things off until I only have 1 number left over. So 13 is my magic number. That's going to be my median. Now I'm not going to use 13 when I find my median of my first and third quartile. So I only have 3 numbers here, so I know that my first quartile is going to be right in the middle, that's 8. And the median of my upper quartile is going to be right in the middle, that's going to be 21. Alright, another example, number 2, I'm going to cross off 1 from each side until I get to the middle. And this time I'm stuck with 2 left over. So what I want to do is I need to find the middle of 15 and 21. And if you can't do that in your head by counting, it's really easy. All you need to do is add them together. So 15 plus 21 and then divide by 2. And I know that 18 is going to actually be my median of this one. Now when that happens, I did not use 21 or 15. So I'm going to use 21 and 15 when I am looking for my first and third quartile. So this time my median, look, I got 2 numbers left over. It's going to be in between 10 and 13, which is going to be 12. And my upper quartile or my third quartile is going to be in between 22 and 25, which is going to be 23 and a half. Okay. I hope that makes sense how to find the first quartile and third quartile. If you have any questions, let me know. I can explain it to you pretty easy. One thing that you may have noticed is sometimes I refer to it as the first quartile or the lower quartile, and then other times I talk about the third quartile and the upper quartile. Those words can be used mixed and matched. It's the same thing. So first and lower, that's the same thing. third and upper, that's also the same thing. So a box and whisker plot actually uses the quartiles that we discussed. And you'll notice in a box and whisker plot, look, it's split up into 4 separate sections. Each one of these having 25% of our data in them. So how this works is first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write my 5 points out. And the 5 points that I use are the least value, quartile 1, the median, quartile 3, and the greatest value. And then I just connect the dots. Now, I can't really tell you why we just don't make a straight line all the way across, but for whatever reason, whoever decided to create box and whisker plots has decided to put a box in the middle and then the whiskers are on the outside connecting your least and greatest values. So if you take a look at my example over here on the side, my least value is 2, so I put a dot there. My greatest value is 8, so I put a dot there. And then I went ahead and I found my median and my quartiles, and I put dots there, and then I just connect them. So it's pretty easy. We're going to do one with you here just so you can see what it looks like, and then I'm going to let you do your work. So I'm going to use the box and whisker plot to write down some information here. So my least value, I'm just going to start with my least value. My least value looks like it's about, 32 maybe. Okay, right here. My greatest value looks about right on 160. And if I was to find the range of that, I'd do 160 minus 32. And what does that be? 128. My median here is right in the middle, maybe 75. So just do your best guessing. First quartile, 45 maybe. And third quartile looks like to be right at 100. And then if you remember our interquartile range, we just subtract these two right there. So 100 minus 45 is 55. Okay. All right, I'm not going to bore you with doing another example there. I'm not going to worry about these word problems on here. I think that once you take a look at the IXLs, you'll notice that they're pretty easy. As always, don't forget to message me if you have any questions, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. All right, peace, guys.